Go ahead and continue our media availabilities for today. We are now joined by Kevin Harvick, driver of the number 4 Mobile One O'Reilly Auto Parts Ford for Stewart Haas Racing. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. If you have one, please raise your hand and we'll get to you. We'll start here in the front with Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Kevin, this week with a couple of the decisions by NASCAR, group qualifying remains, obviously some additional penalties, and then you also look at the schedule with Daytona being the regular season finale, the short tracks being cut offs on the Roval. Obviously, a lot of that stuff is being done still for the entertainment aspect of things, and I'm curious, where do you see the balance between entertainment and competition, and how that should be looked at moving forward? Because obviously this is something that will continue to be viewed and looked at by decision makers. So how do you kind of view that topic?
Yeah. So as far as the schedule is, in my opinion, for the 2020 schedule is a huge step in the right direction, and I think those round-ins and putting Bristol in there and having Daytona be the last race of the regular season, I think there's a tremendous amount of really good things that are put in there, and I think that'll continue to get better as you go into 21 and you see those track agreements come to an end at the end of 20. The one thing I would like to see, with that 2-week gap in there, I'd love to see that first week. I'd love to see a mandatory shop closure of all the race teams to really rejuvenate the guys, gals, everybody in the sport to come back fresh and really get kind of a mid-season break. You see them do that in Formula One, and I really think for the morale and just to keep everybody from just getting beat into the ground, I think that would be something that would be really interesting to see happen. But I think from a schedule standpoint, I think we definitely have some really good changes that were in there, and there's always going to have to be an entertainment value, and there's always going to be a balance. I think when you look at the penalties in qualifying, it still really doesn't, fix a lot of the things that I personally don't like about qualifying. I can't wrap my arms around being last to be first, but I love group qualifying. And group qualifying and this package are just hard to marry together on a lot of these racetracks because you have to draft. So it's a tough scenario to try to figure out, and we go out and try to do the best we can in the scenario that we're in, and go from there. And if it changes, it changes. It doesn't, it doesn't.
We'll come back up to the front to Jeff right here.
I've heard from some of the drivers today who have been talking about how the higher corner speeds have been increasing the load on y'all's bodies, and they can feel it after races. Have you felt anything like that? Like, do you feel like it's physically tougher after you get out of the car? Like, can you feel the effects?
I have not. I have not felt that. I can tell you that the center of the corner speeds are up, but I guess ask me that question after next week. That's been the case for a while, though.
We'll go to Jerry in the back.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net. A couple of reports this week that you were hanging up the fire suit and putting on a three-piece suit and going to the TV booth sooner than probably some would have expected. Can you talk about that? Or any of that true? Or are you going to be at Stewart Haas for the
As you guys have probably heard a lot, that's fake news. So whoever wrote that is speculating on a lot of rumors. I'm not getting out of the race car. I feel really comfortable with where I'm at as far as how I feel in the race car, where my home life is, as far as balance with my kids. I feel fairly confident that being a part of the TV side of things is something that I want to do in the future, but it's not going to happen in the next couple of years, I can tell you that. And it'll be evaluated to sit in the seat first before at the end of those next couple of years, before it's even considered 100% to do something different. So we have a lot of things that are going really well, and the race car is one of them. So that's just somebody looking for a headline there. and there's no way that happens. I have contracts and things that are already in place for through 2021.
We'll come to the left right here to Stephen.
Stephen Hawkins with the AP. Obviously, Gibbs and Penske, won all the races this year, but you guys have had success here. Others, Hendricks has had success. Is this the track that maybe things can change and somebody else can kind of get going?
That's a good question. Right now we have no clue with the way that the rules are right now. Friday is so drastically opposite of what you need on Saturday and Sunday that you don't really learn anything about your car. I think for us, we've had 4th, 5th place cars, at a lot of these styles of racetracks, and so it'll be interesting to see how the track progresses with the PJ1 on the racetrack. I think tonight will start to tell the story of what's going to happen with those grooves. Turns 1 and 2 is still going to be the key to this race, and that's really been our moneymaker since they've repaved the racetrack. Is getting through the center of turns 1 and 2 and being able to make passes and carry speed and do that in traffic, out of traffic, and so if we can, I think that it's going to be that same key. But turns 3 and 4 will be easy. You can run the bottom, you can run the middle. The cars are slow through down the straightaway, so they're going to be easy, wide open on that end.
And you said a minute ago about you're not planning to get out of the car for any time soon, driving-wise, but you've got other things that you can do once driving's over. Does that help you in your balance moving forward, knowing you've got the family life, you've got the MAA, you've got the possibility of doing full-time broadcasting later?
Well, I think as you look at the management company side of things, that's much different than it really was ever intended to look. I didn't expect it to be doing the things that it's doing and be a profitable business and be doing something that I like to do. I like sports in general. I like being in this garage. I like racing, but I also like other sports. So that's been encouraging for me to see it build and be able to start to build something that you didn't really expect to be building from that side of things. I enjoy the TV side of it, but there's still really nothing that replaces the competitive side of things. From being in there, holding that steering wheel and making decisions, and I still get a big kick out of situations like we're in right now, of being able to make changes to the cars and talk to your engineers and your crew chief, and walking through the garage this morning with the car through inspection, and so I love that part of the racing as much as I do the driving, and as being a part of the team and helping solve a problem that is sometimes broken, sometimes really good, sometimes bad. That for me, especially with this group of guys, and the more you talk to people who retired and did things, it's always like, man, I wish I would have just stayed in the competitive situation that I was in and not tried to do something different or quit too soon. So it's just you hear a lot of talk about the schedule getting shorter, condensing things, and as you look at that, that makes life easier to manipulate. How you make things function at home too. So if things get shorter, I feel good in a race car, and I just don't understand why a lot of people think you should get out, because there's so much to do with being competitive in this sport is so much to do with experience. And why wouldn't you want to, if it's going good, why not just keep going? And so there's too many things that I still enjoy about it. There's only a couple things that I really don't like, but it's not mine. If it was mine, I would do things, some things that I don't like differently, but I really like my race team, and I like my people that are around me, and for me, that's just something that'll be really hard to replace by watching somebody else do it.